All right, for Cindy's sake, we're going to make this short and sweet.
Thank you.
Some of you know that I've been tied up with family all week, and it occurred to me that's sort of like the 12 days of Christmas. You know, I've got 5 brothers and sisters, 3 sisters-in-law, 2 sons who are present, and the last baby grandchildren. And the ones who are going to be left by the time I get home are from Canada. And I bring them up particularly because my brother Alan, who's lived in Montreal for many a year, he married a French-Canadian biochemist. And she had the employment, and he could find something. Their daughter Virginia has been here a few times. And the time that I want to mention, oh gosh, I cover this, yeah. She was 10 years old, and I don't do this very often. More than enough for Cindy, but anyway, she was 10 years old, and my brother's a woodworker, a fine woodworker, makes furniture, and he teaches and stuff like that. And so we were out at Ralph McMillan's place. Those of you who live in Randolph County will know Ralph. And Ralph has his little portable sawmill, and Alan had found some trees around our land, and old trees that had fallen down, apple trees, you know, beautiful grain and everything like that. He wanted to saw them up. So we brought Virginia with us to his place, which is on a ridge, you know, where Randolph runs into Barber County, and you know, he's got the highest point on that ridge, and just a lovely little place. But we're in a field working on this machinery and stuff like that. So Virginia goes off to amuse herself, and she finds this house and looks at the house that he has constructed and the little outbuildings and everything like that. And you know, she's just on her own. And 10 years old, I have often thought, is the peak of human development. You know, puberty may be coming back to 10 now, I don't know, but it's generally before puberty, and it's the height of your own sense of what you can learn and everything like that. So she comes back to us, winds her way back half an hour, 45 minutes later, and comes up to Ralph and says, "You live in paradise." So that trend, you know, the segue here is that Cindy lives on Eden Road, and it's been a lot more of a struggle for her than a 10-year-old probably could have foreseen. So I wrote something about, I wrote 2 pages, which is condensing already. So I'm going to condense what I said in 2 pages in the August issue of the Highlands Voice. If you want more, you know, and she make her cheeks turn red or something, I don't know. But I gave you some of the background, growing up Pennsylvania, you know, Pittsburgh, and going to Wheeling College, and then studying theology, and then teaching theology and getting into social justice stuff. And another reference besides the 12 days of Christmas that occurred to me, now, but it'll slip my mind because it's too recent and my short-term memory is going. What was I going to say? Oh, well, skip it. It'll come back to me, the 3rd paragraph down the road. Anyway, so it mentions in the program 44 years, but that, you know, that's 1979. Well, that's when you came to the Highlands Conservancy's attention, right? But
right.
You were already starting to pay attention to the threat.
Right.
Yes, and you can correct me, obviously. You've got your little thing. Anything I say wrong. Anyway, so, you know, oh, I know what I was going to say about somebody who teaches theology, you know. It reminded me of jack tales, which is something we would refer to in my family, you know, when somebody started getting really lazy, you know, and I only had sons, so. Jack was a lazy baby, and he grew up to be a lazy man, you know. Here was a serious young woman who grew up to be a serious adult, and people like that, issues flow toward them, and yours happen to be water, and that's why we're here today, and the biggest threat to water. And so to our great good fortune, she came to us seeking help, and then very quickly everything turned around. She changed our nature as a Highlands Conservancy into somebody who could help other people, because of her, and changed the way we handled things. I mean, the Highlands Conservancy was interested in conserving the Highlands, and coal was up here, but it was always, our issues were always related to a special place. And Cindy saw it in a more global way, special places and special people, and everybody's special. And forgotten communities who are getting the shit kicked out of them. She brought them to our attention, and we, and then, we set a precedent. Our organization was a plaintiff in the first lawsuit, federal lawsuit, that would take off mountaintop mining. And that was Bragg against Robertson, and in a way that was a high point of the whole thing. So we've gone together through this whole thing. She's led us sometimes by the nose, but always keeping in mind the justice issues, and it's more than just land. It is who's on the land, who's already here, who's getting punished because they came here and settled here and stayed generation after generation. Many of us in this room are people who are just establishing a first generation here. I've had a child born here, and I've raised 2 other children here, but it'll be a long time before I'm really local,
Never.
So, yeah, right. I can't be never. And my son, Gabriel, he'll never be really regarded as a local, but he's got 2 sons. Of course, they were born in Greece, so that's going to complicate it.
It's
Anyway,
farther than Pittsburgh.
they're back. They're back. They have a house in Elkins now, so that's been part of the family thing too. Everything's coming together, and I had a big round birthday, and I think you did too, right?
Same day, I think. Same day. 14th.
Same day. Okay, I knew it was
15th or 14th?
15th.
14th.
All right. Okay. See, neither one of us knew exactly because of our age. It's a round number. Lots of circles.
I'm a day older than you.
Yeah. So I am paying homage, as I should.
Okay.
It's my duty. So anyway, I'm going to wind up with this silly little introduction by doing better by quoting, with water as our particular focus here. I looked back and found your testimony before a Senate committee. Oh, I didn't write down the date, but here's part of what she said. It is so profound and so beautifully written out and so beautifully presented. And I'm sure it blew their socks off, but one of the things she's learned is that they can write beautiful laws, but laws are not self-enforcing. Governments will always try to duck the hard issues, pass it on. State says, you said this is our responsibility. Yeah, we did. We're only too happy to be yours. So you go to the feds and say, they're not carrying out their responsibility. Oh, have you looked? Back and forth. Nobody wants to get in the business of really enforcing these well-crafted laws. Anyway, the testimony. Water is at the heart of it all. Having nowhere to put the deep layers of earth that separate the coal seams, companies blast apart and dump the rock into the stream valleys that originate in the high reaches of the mountain and flow down the hollows between the ridges. Pockets of groundwater, perched aquifers, and hillside springs that many of us depend on are gone in an instant. One of the main goals of the Surface Mine Act was to uphold the Clean Water Act. Water is at the heart of it all. Thank you for saying that, and here's your prize.
Oh, where is that?
That's the High Falls of Cheat, I think.
High
Falls of
Cheat.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
How beautiful. Thank you.
Who signed it? Is that Kate? Not Kate. Somebody different. Well, maybe it was Kate. I don't know. You'll find out. All right.
Thank you all. Thank you, Hugh. No speech. You want me to follow that? No way. But I will say, not much. For those of you who were here earlier, and then now, I think Marilyn said it best, it's like you brought us down to earth. And for those of us who are concerned about water, don't worry, there's always going to be a place for you to be working because they never go away. It's issue upon issue upon issue upon issue. Couldn't be mining, could be anything. But as many of the people in the room already know, sorry about that, I don't speak very much in public anymore. But from the days of Rick Webb teaching our community group, Friends of the Little Canal, how to test water, and then take that to the DEP and say, don't do mining here. This is good place, this is good stuff. Lots of little bugs, lots of good water. And if you let them start mining, you've got the same thing that the Buchanan River has, which is acid mine drainage for years and years and years. So for those of you in the room, whether it's Perry Bryant in the legislature or Karen and Rick with lots of issues and air and water and whoever else, all of you have been friends over the years. Those that I know, those that maybe I meet will be friends for years. Dave Cooper in the back, who took his mountaintop mining roadshow on the road for many, many, many places for many, many years. And all those people who are not here with us today, the Don Gaspers of the world and the Don Garvins and Julian Martins, Frank Young. We can go on down the list. This is a recognition of me is a recognition of all of you and all of them. And I thank you.